Good morning, everybody. This is Billy Trout, manager of Taxpayer Services Education Section. And on behalf of our Commissioner, David Geragano, and our staff at Taxpayer Services in the Department of Revenue, we certainly appreciate you being with us today for a great discussion about natural disaster refunds. So we've got some information to go through with you today. And we'll, of course, be recording this, and Katie has put together a great presentation. We also have Mr. Ben Blackwell with our audit division. So good morning to both of you guys, and certainly glad to have everybody on board today. I'll go ahead and turn this over to Katie so that we can get a few logistics out of the way and continue with the information. Okay. Thank you very much, Katie. Ben.
Great, thank you, Billy, and glad to have Ben with us today. He is going to be helping me and assisting with this presentation, discussing the process of actually applying for the refunds. And he's actually a resident of East Tennessee in an affected county by the recent Helene, so has some firsthand knowledge there. So happy to have you with us here today, Ben. Like Billy said, I just want to handle a few things, a few items of importance here on the screen you see in front of you. If you have audio issues, the best thing to do is to leave and then re-enter the event using the same link that you used to log in this morning. We are recording this, and we will be posting a recording of this presentation at the latest by tomorrow in our webinar video library. The links you see on your WebEx screen, like, excuse me, the link over to this library here, all these links, you have to actually download the PDF of this presentation, which I put a link to it over in the chat. Let me actually link that over again real quick, and you can click on the QR code that you see on your screen here. I'm going to copy that. All right, I just put a link over to the presentation in the chat. So those links, like I said, you can't click on them directly from your screen here on the webinar, but if you go over to the PDF of the presentation, then these links will be live. We are going to be taking questions during the second half of this webinar, so hold your questions. If you've got any, we'll open up to questions after we're done with the slides. And this information that you see with our contact revenue.support@tn.gov and our general tax line helpline number, we'll also post that again here at the end of the during the second half when we are open to questions. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and proceed here. This is a webinar that is part of a monthly webinar series that we have, usually the last Tuesday of every month. And again, this month we are going to be dedicating the webinar to natural disaster sales tax refunds or sales tax relief. Again, there's another same QR code to link over to the PDF. And I do want to say that information in this webinar is current as of the date that we're presenting it and may not reflect legislative and other subsequent changes. So if you're watching a recording of this, this is current as of September 30th, 2025. You can see some links here in the PDF if you want to link over to our published tax manuals, revenue help articles, and legislative summaries by year and tax type. So just a bit of a statistic here that I find pretty awesome is there were $730 million passed in natural disaster relief funding during the 2025 session. That was 450 million, a little over 450 million in the special session and over 280 million in the regular session, which is pretty amazing. We are fortunate to live in a state where our General Assembly and our governor really cares about helping out our people during these hard times. We've had, of course, Helene a year ago. I think this past Saturday was the year anniversary of Helene coming through, devastating Western North Carolina and Eastern Tennessee and other areas. There's tornadoes that come through Tennessee, unfortunately, flooding. Just several years ago, we had wildfires in the Smoky Mountains in Sevier County. So having help when needed and some relief when needed is always great. So we're going to be talking today about How does that relief work, the sales tax relief? If your primary residence is damaged or destroyed, any damage done due to a natural disaster that has occurred here in Tennessee, you're entitled to a refund of the sales tax that has been paid on things like appliances, furniture, building supplies that you have purchased to help put your life back together, basically. You can refer back to Tennessee Code Annotated, Section 67-6-396 for more information about this. We'll be sharing some more resources with you later in this session. But we're going to be talking today about who qualifies for the refund, specifically what items are eligible, also what items are not eligible. Like I said, Ben is going to be walking us through the process, how you apply and how it works. We'll share with you some resources, and then we'll dedicate some time at the end to some of your questions, and we'll have some chat time. So qualifying for this relief, if you are a Tennessee resident and you have received financial assistance from FEMA for repair, replacement, or construction of your primary home that was damaged as a result of natural disaster. That is basically the main thing that allows you to qualify. There is a maximum amount of the refund that is available, and that is 2,500. That's per resident. So 2,500 in a $2,500 refund may be available to you. So the way sales tax works in Tennessee, it's pretty simple. It's on most items of tangible personal property, things you can touch, feel. So again, um, appliances, construction materials, that kind of thing. That's tangible personal property. Typically the state rate for all for most items of tangible personal property in Tennessee is 7%, and there's an additional local rate too, up to 2.75. So you might be paying upwards of 9.75% in sales tax on these items. You will pay the sales tax on the items and then apply for a refund. Again, that's what we're here to talk about today. We do want to say that renters who have received financial assistance from FEMA for repair, replacement, or construction of the home that they're renting can also qualify for this refund. It's not just for owners of the home. So we're going to break this down in terms of what is eligible. The first thing we're going to be talking about for eligible items are major appliances. All right. So major appliances purchased to replace those that were damaged or destroyed with a purchase price of $3,200 or less per item are going to be eligible, such as, I don't really think I need to go through this whole list, but major appliances can be dishwashers, fans. Obviously, the appliances you think of as being in your home, ovens, refrigerator, stove, but also a vacuum cleaner is considered an appliance, water heaters. So pretty self-explanatory there with appliances. Residential furniture is also a qualifying item. The purchase price of $3,200 or less per item. Furniture, again, pretty self-explanatory. But I do want to say that it's interior furniture that qualifies. Exterior, your patio furniture, and so forth would not qualify. Same with playground equipment. It's indoor furniture. Building supplies. Uh, with the purchase price of $500 or less per item. Now, I want you to look a little closer at this list. What's considered a building supply? Boxes, trash bags, obviously things that you would normally think of as building supplies like drywall, roofing, shingles, gutters, windows, um, so on and so forth there. All right, a little more in depth here in building supplies. Again, not going to read through these entire lists. If you are affected by this and need more information or want to kind of study this list more later, construction tools, flooring, there is a $500 limit per unit price of the product for flooring. So that would be like $500 per box of flooring, $500 per rug. Paint materials, other building materials, doors, faucets, countertops, cleaning and disinfecting supplies. Important there, chlorine bleach, detergent, disinfectants, hardware obviously included in there with building supplies. So things you're using or things that you are replacing as you're going through the rebuilding process. Just some examples of things that are not eligible. Appliances, as we mentioned, that have a purchase price of more than $3,200 per item. Furniture, same, $3,200 or more, not going to be eligible. Supplies with a purchase price of more than $500, or flooring with a unit price of more than $500. Just a few specific things, this last bullet here, that are not going to be included in the sales tax relief for this is going to be clothing, computers and televisions, dehumidifiers, dishes. There's a list here of everything. Find it interesting, HVAC units and heating and air units not included there. I'm not sure what went into the making of these lists, but it's pretty specific, so pay attention to that as well. Taxes paid by a contractor, of course, if you're rebuilding, you may be hiring a contractor. Tennessee sales tax paid by the contractor on the eligible items we just discussed can be included in the claim for refund. An invoice will be needed you'll need to provide an invoice listing those items and the amount of sales tax that your contractor paid. All right, I'm gonna pass things along to Ben here, who is going to talk to you about the process. Let's see, Ben, I made you presenter. The process that you're gonna go through.
All right, so the process is pretty straightforward. I didn't want to make it really difficult for all those going through difficult times already. So the process can be is kind of a time frame. So a claim can be filed up to 1 year from the date on the FEMA decision letter. And then, but you don't want to file too soon. Make sure that you have all of your receipts already collected. So claimants should wait until all purchases have been made before filing their refund claim. And once you are ready, once you've collected all those receipts and invoices, you should get all those together along with that FEMA letter, and you'll submit those along with your claim.
Sorry, I just realized I had made Billy the
Yeah.
presenter. You're good now.
All right, good. All right, so yeah, the steps for submitting your claim is you're gonna make sure you have that FEMA decision letter and have all of your receipts and invoices showing the payment of Tennessee's sales tax on eligible items. And like Katie said, this includes contractor invoices, if applicable, and any other payment documents if store receipts are not available. And the claims can be filed either electronically or through a paper form. So electronically, you would go to our website, our TNTAP site, and it is tntap.tn.gov /e-services, and there will be a link on your document for that, and you just go to the information help, view options, and the link for natural disaster refunds. And here's an image of what you'll see when you get to that. You'll have your the street address at the time of the disaster that you'll enter in. And again, once again, so these claims can be submitted per residence, per household. And that's one per residence. And then here's a paper claim. And then at the bottom, you'll see where you have where you can submit your list of qualifying purchases. That paper form continued. And then also is included is instructions for filling out the form. So you'll complete all the items on the form attach your FEMA decision letter. Excuse
I've
me.
got a question for you, Ben. Sorry to
Yes.
interrupt. So the year that you've got from your FEMA decision letter, is that when it has to, if you're sending in a paper form, does it need to be postmarked by the date of the decision letter? Or
Yes,
receipt?
we
Okay,
always use the postmark date.
great. Okay, thanks.
Yes. Thank you for that question. So you'll attach your FEMA decision letter and your receipts once again. So you'll make sure that whenever you start purchasing items to keep those receipts. And then here's the address towards the bottom where you'll send that to if you're submitting the paper form. And our resources. So the important notice will give you a description of what was allowed through legislation, and you'll have your informational page with the eligible items. So if you have any additional questions, you can go to these pages, these links that has everything laid out. Like we said, we try to keep it pretty straightforward, pretty simple, but there might be some questions that arise. So just be sure to just reach out if you have any questions on it.
Great, and thank you for that information, Ben. I'm going to go ahead and open up the chat. Let's see here. You can send your questions in the chat to our panel. There we go. All right, chat is open. Let's see here. Okay. I actually had a question, Ben. What kind of things do you see if someone does not have a receipt? I know we, say like other documents, other payment documents. What kind of things can they provide? Let's say someone is that was affected, a year ago by Helene, and they're inching towards a deadline here of when they got their FEMA um, letter, and maybe they don't have all their receipts. What can they use?
Uh, let's see. They can use invoices maybe that they receive from a contractor.
Okay.
Anything that shows where they have paid sales tax.
Okay.
Paid sales tax towards the items.
Guess we're kind of in today's world when lots of things are bought online, at least maybe you can go back and view an invoice from online or something like that. So that's good.
Yeah.
There's a question about like using the decision letter or the let's see, is there a difference between the FEMA disaster declaration or the FEMA decision letter?
I think it's the letter date. Is that right, Ben?
Yes, from what I understand, is there's a date on the letter,
Yep.
Okay,
so that's the date that we're going to go by.
great.
So Gina has asked, the deadline is a year from the FEMA letter, so that's cutting it close, right? For the Helene disaster we went through a year ago, maybe cutting that close, but this process is not just for one particular disaster. This is for all natural disasters that hit. I think there were some tornadoes this spring. Unfortunately, I don't think we're ever going to be immune from being affected in this state by natural disasters. So yes,
Yeah.
for what happened a year ago, we're getting a little close for that, but hopefully it won't be too hard for those of you that were not aware of this process. Now I know that we had a presence at a lot of the events that took place where FEMA was there, right, Ben? Like in East Tennessee during and the aftermath of
Yeah,
Helene.
there's been a number of expos in different counties, natural disaster expos, where uh, where different participants have been there to help and provide assistance in different ways. And yeah, we were able to get involved in that and to speak with people affected by these disasters firsthand. So
Kayla has a question. Can I use a screenshot of where I placed an online order through the Lowe's app as long as it has the order number and a price on it?
Yeah, I was going to ask about that too. I'm glad she asked that question.
Yeah, Ben, I would say definitely as long as the amount of sales tax paid would be on there. Is that what they need, or just a receipt, just the price and the order number? What do you think?
yeah, I think images can probably be used. I'll need to verify that, but yeah, and we can get back to her on that.
Okay.
But most likely, I believe that's going to be correct. That we can use screenshots or. Yes. I've already got an answer.
Well,
Yes,
then there you
images
go.
are
That's your
fine.
answer.
All right.
Hey, did you see this, Katie? I think it's Kelly says I keep receiving a message that I've applied already, but I haven't. So what's next? What should they do if they're getting that message that may be incorrect in some way?
I'm not sure on that one. I'll have to check on that one.
Is there a way
Let's
that they
see.
can maybe just send you guys an email and some contact information and possibly just let you guys follow up on that for them?
Yes. Yeah, they can
Okay.
always reach out to us and we'll be glad to answer any of those questions.
Okay. What else are
So,
you seeing out here, Miss Katie?
I believe a credit card statement cannot be used.
Yeah, I don't
Can you
know if there's
see?
enough information on the credit card statement to determine what the actual item is. So that could be a problem, I think.
Right.
You think so, Ben?
Yep. Yeah, if it doesn't have the item and the sales tax that was paid, then yeah, that's I don't think that's enough information for us to go on.
Yeah, and if you use our form and look at the requirements that it takes as far as the paperwork goes, you can use that as an indicator of the type of detail that you need to use when you're submitting these claims.
Here's a good question from Randy. The contractor's invoice doesn't have the sales tax amount, just a total. Ben, what would be the best thing to do there? Kind of back out what sales tax would have been. How do we work that if the contractor's invoice doesn't show a breakdown of the subtotal and then the amount of tax paid?
Um, yes, I'd say you can back out of that. I'll need to verify that as well, but
And that would
yes.
be probably a phone call to us, which I'm going to go ahead and go forward and share this screen because it's got our phone numbers on it. That refunds unit that you see in the kind of lower right hand of this screen. Something specific like that, I think, would be a good reason to reach out to the refunds unit. Would you think, Ben?
Yes, having a phone call with the auditor that's working the claim, just working through the items, the materials that you have available, and see what kind of determinations we can make based on what's provided.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just that phone call with your auditor will help get those questions answered.
Yes, and our good pal, expert tax audit manager person, Miss Nana Hofstetter, has popped into the chat. Who's a little under the weather today. And Nana, we hope you feel better, by the way. It looks like we got information here, and Nana's saying, "Hey, give them a call. Let us help you on your particular issue with Kelly there, and any other thing that you're having." And I think what we're all saying here is, number one, make sure that you are careful in making your claim, but also make sure you're careful in making your claim timely. So, if you're outside the window that Ben and Katie have been talking about here, um, and you submit that claim late, it has to be rejected. So we don't have a lot of wiggle room or anything like that, because we do have some uh, mandates that we have to follow. And so if you are struggling and you're coming up on your date, it would be better to get that done now and get that filed. Okay. And then and then let us go ahead and make sure that your dates are good. Do y'all agree with that? Sound right to you guys?
Yeah, and I see was added too is it's the decision letter from the FEMA approval letter. So that's the date that's going off of, not the declaration date.
The decision letter, the date that's on the decision letter.
Right. What
Yes.
they get that
Yeah.
says, hey, we've made a decision and this is what you're going to get. Yeah.
A question from Jerry, does hardwood flooring qualify? And I think all flooring, right? As far as I could tell, let me go back to that specific page. Sorry if I'm making you dizzy going
That
past it.
Yeah.
unit price was one thing that we had talked about when we were talking about our webinar too.
hmm
What does it say? $500 limit to the purchase unit price of the product. So, yeah, fancy
Yeah.
Persian rugs worth thousands of dollars, probably not just going to be the 500, but what do you think about just a package of hardwood floor being?
Yeah, it's going to be per unit, so that's going to be a box, or like in carpet, it's going to be square footage. So I think, yeah, just as long as it's not like some kind of luxury item, like a Persian rug or maybe even marble flooring.
Even some of the, I know there's a cap on appliances over 3,200. If you've got it's not hard for an appliance to go over that amount. I totally get that. For the oven in my home, we had to replace an oven recently, and just the space that's allowed for the oven in my house it's like larger than your average one, and the prices were just so high. It was ridiculous. I was like, can I just get a regular sized oven and have a little gap in between? But no, that wouldn't work either. So
You,
sometimes these amounts can go higher, but sh- you should be, a lot of appliances come under that, and total with everything. Um, you should receive a refund that covers a good bit of what you've needed to replace. And
yeah.
I hope that doesn't sound insensitive, because I'm not going through what a lot of you are going through now. My home did get flooded in the 2010 Nashville floods, the whole lower level of our house, and I know that it adds up real fast. Everything that you need to replace, and what flooded in my home didn't even include a kitchen or other things. But it all adds up, that's for sure.
So I got a quick question for Ben here, and I think it says 3,200 or less per item. I think the answer, well, I'm not gonna put words in Ben's mouth. So I've got a range that costs $4,000. I'm thinking that doesn't qualify, and I couldn't put down on my form just $3,200. Does that sound right to you?
Yes, if the item unit is over $3,200, then it's not going to qualify.
Right. So you can't just cap it at 32 and say we're good. It doesn't work like that. It just doesn't
No.
qualify. Yeah.
Okay. Jerry asked the question, so appliances are covered, not only the sales tax, it's the sales tax paid on the item that you can get a refund for. So let's say you gather your list of this appliance, this appliance, this appliance, the furniture, your bedroom furniture, living room furniture, kitchen furniture, some building supplies. You've got all those receipts. You're going to add up the amount and the application kind of walks you through this. So you're going to add up the amount of sales tax paid, and up to $2,500 is what is able to be refunded to you in the amount of sales tax that you paid on all these items that you see on the screen here: appliances, furniture, building supplies, other building supplies, all of those things. Take your whole list, and the sales tax paid up to $2,500 of it is what is applicable there. Kelly has a question, Ben. If cabinets cost 30,000 to replace, so that's a good question. Cabinets, I mean, is a per unit price in cabinetry. Each cabinet unit, not all the cabinets, because cabinets come in units, right? You've got a corner unit, you got an end unit, you got an upper, a lower, would that be, let me see if that's specifically mentioned. I don't believe I've seen that. I mean, it says
Cabinetry is
Yeah.
under other building materials.
Yeah, cabinetry.
I would say the unit, if you've got, if your total cost for all the cabinets is 30,000, see if your supplier there, Kelly, can give you a breakdown per unit, because it's going to be, you know, capped there at $500 or less per unit. Hope that helps. Questions are kind of slowing down, guys. Just give it another minute here.
I just want to reiterate one more time the importance of making sure that you file your claim. Okay. Certainly, we don't want anybody to file a claim that doesn't qualify for it, because honestly, you know, we're trying to be efficient with the government here, and we want Ben and his bunch and Nana's bunch to work on really great issues for taxpayers that need assistance. So, you know, if you do qualify, though, we do want you to file. We want to go through your paperwork later on, and we want to make sure that you're getting every advantage that you can get. The law calls for this. Our Tennessee legislature has passed this in years past to allow you this opportunity, and we stand ready to help you. So that's super, super important that you make sure that you file a timely claim, but an appropriate claim as well, not just because you think I might be able to get some money and I was not in the Helene area and I never filed for FEMA. Well, that's not you. So don't file that. But for the rest of you that may qualify, please do.
Ben, if there's a question on someone, if someone has sent in an application and it might be missing something or kind of incomplete, I guess, will it just get rejected and they're out, or do you reach back out to them and say, hey, we're missing this, we're missing that? How does that work? Have those come in that are
Yeah, so an auditor will be assigned to each claim, and if the auditor sees that any information is missing, or if there needs to be any kind of conversation, the auditor will reach out to the
okay?
claimant
Got
and
it.
seek that information.
Good. It's not that they don't just end up being rejected because something's missing. It's a conversation that takes place after that. Okay.
Yes.
Just a reminder too that if your mailing address is not functional, adding other options for the auditor to reach out to you would be good. So email, phone, just make sure that all the information that you submit on your application, such as your email address, your phone, is a good way that we can reach you, right, Ben? Because you may have
Yes.
to get reached. So.
Exactly.
Well, we do not have any. I think we covered all the questions that came from you guys. We really appreciate you being in here. Sorry for what you went through. If you are here for the reason of getting information to be able to submit a claim, we wish you the best, and want to put this screen back up here to ways to reach out to us, especially that refunds number that you see in the bottom right, 615-741-0443. Just a few more things here. We've got a couple upcoming webinars. Next month in October, it's filing the franchise and excise tax return. The November webinar is refunds and penalty waivers. Now, those are general tax refunds, not specific to the natural disaster refunds. For anybody that's got a new business in Tennessee, we do offer a quarterly new business workshop. We've got one coming up in just a couple of weeks. Is that next week? Is that next week? Yeah, next week on the 8th, and a link here to get there. And just want to thank you all for being with us today. I hope that this information has been helpful to you, or for anybody watching this, a recording of this down the road. Ben and Nana, thank you both so much for helping to put this together and for everything you're doing to help everyone that is affected by a natural disaster and needing help with this refund process. And thanks to you, Billy.
Oh, thank you, Katie. We
Thank you.
always appreciate what you do as well.
If we do have any CPAs joining us today, you can get CPE credit for attending this, and you can just answer yes to that question as you leave the event. There is a quick survey. Anyone who's with us today, we welcome your comments and your feedback on our survey. And again, thanks for being with us, and have a good one.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.